What's up, everyone? Welcome to this day in Philly sports history for March 1st, 2025. I'm your host, Jim Montgomery. Welcome to a Saturday edition of the podcast, our first one in March. And just so when I put the episodes into Spotify to the audio version, so if you're listening on audio, thank you. But I post them onto Spotify, and they always ask me season number and episode. So typically what I do is whatever month I've been doing it, that's the season number and then the days. But today, March 1st, marks our 30th season or 30th month of doing this day in Philly sports history. So just thank you for your loyal support. 30 months we've been doing this. Well, a little less than 30 months. I started the September 7th, but thank you for 30 months, 30 seasons, whatever you want to call it. I do appreciate it. Be sure to check me out on social media, Jimbo_Mont, Twitter and TikTok, at Philly Jimbo on Instagram. Subscribe to that YouTube channel, Jimbo_Mont. Even if you're listening on to the audio podcast, subscribe to the YouTube channel. And then go check out our friends at On Madison. We are featured in their email newsletter a couple times a week. We were in there twice this past week. Great Philly sports coverage. Trust me, when it comes to their Phillies coverage, second to none. So go to onpadison.com and check out what they have to offer there. The Philadelphia Sports Hall of Fame 2025 induction class ballot has been sent. You have a chance to get your voice heard. Click the link in the description, fill out your ballot, and if it most closely resembles or matches the actual 2025 induction class, you win 2 free VIP tickets to the ceremony in November. So go check that out. I will be getting more into the Hall of Fame stuff as we go through the month of March, but really trying to get involved as much as possible with them and do things I can. I still have a bunch of memorabilia and cool things behind me here. But working with some partnerships and things like that. So go have a chance to win 2 free VIP tickets by filling out your ballot. And if it most closely matches the actual induction class, you get those 2 free VIP tickets. All right. Flyers in Winnipeg today versus the Jets, looking for their 5th straight game with a point. And I saw a stat yesterday. Matvei Michkov leads all rookies with points, and he's kind of on a minutes restriction. He doesn't play as much as everyone else as he's getting adjusted to the grind of an NHL season. He's sat out a couple games, Tortorella, to kind of help the process out. So the fact that he's leading all rookie scorers is nothing short of amazing, and just goes to show how much of a stud this guy is going to be once he gets his sea legs under him. Looking forward to this stretch run here as they're trying to make that final playoff push. But they're back at it tonight, looking for their 5th straight game with a point out in Winnipeg. And then the Sixers. Oh, boy, the Sixers. Joe's out for the season. I don't think anybody is shocked, surprised, or even concerned about that. I think from taking the team out of it from Joe's perspective, and say what you want about Joe, I actually love Joe, and we'll get more once we kind of see where this goes. We can talk about his legacy. I see a lot of people talking about whether they should retire his number, where he ranks all time with the Sixers. I'm not ready to do that yet because I want to see how this plays out. But I think it's the right thing for the man to sit him out for the season and explore the options. It kind of takes one more thing out of the equation to be a distraction and things like that. But you have to feel bad for him. And it's just the fact that the rest of the team, I think we talked all the time about how during Eagles season, how Saquon meant so much to the Eagles, but it was ultimately everybody kind of stepped up. But if you take him out of the mix, what would they be? And I think this is a perfect example of that. You take Joe from where he was and alter that and take him out, and this team crumbles. So I don't know if there's going to be plenty of time the rest of the season to break this down, but Is it the players relying too much on him? Is it just the type of players that they're bringing in? Lots of stuff to talk about, but how do we get here? How do we get here? Sixers Twitter is wild. Everybody talks about Eagles Twitter and how it's a lot of infighting and things like that, but Sixers Twitter is wild. I see people still blaming Sam Hinkie for this, and truthfully, I still think I personally would have loved to have seen Sam Hinkie kind of see the process out. I think it was the NBA stepping in and putting that clown Colangelo's in office for the Sixers, and the way that they messed up with Tatum and all of that stuff. But I don't know. Sixers Twitter is wild. But where do we go from here? That's today's question of the day. Where do we go from here? And I think there's a couple different ways you can do it. Like, I'm not saying should they make a playoff push, should they tank, this, that, and the other. I think there needs to be some major changes, and I see a lot of people say about blowing it up. But do you trust the people that are making the moves right now to blow it up? And that's the question of the day. Do you trust Daryl Morey and Elton Brand to get the Sixers out of whatever this is? I don't. I think it needs to start from the top. Joshua Harris. I think he needs to clean house and let somebody come in with fresh eyes, evaluate what they have, and then go from there. Because part of the reason we're here is because Daryl Morey gave the contract to Paul George and brought in guys like Caleb Martin and guys that have been hurt, ended up being traded and things like this. So do you trust this regime to fix the Sixers? 267-495-8531. That'll get you into the Back to the Future voice and text line. Get that. Anything else Philly sports related off of your chest. And the Sixers are in action tonight. The Warriors are coming to the Wells Fargo Center, so should be a large crowd to see Steph. I'm expecting a pretty pro-Warriors crowd tonight. And, of course, Sixers have lost now 9 in a row, and Steph Curry is coming in red hot. Bodes well for that draft pick. But Sixers Warriors tonight. But what are your thoughts on that? Where do we go from here with the Sixers? I think I don't necessarily think it's a crossroads moment yet, but where do we go from here? Is there any hope? However you want to get your Sixers frustration out, but where do we go from here? And I think the direction we need to go is not going to happen because of the owner, and that's. I feel like we have probably. I'm not going to necessarily call Joshua Harris one of the worst owners in all 4 major sports, but when you put him Jeffrey Lurie is on a different level. But even John Middleton and the guys that own the Phillies, the Flyers have kind of given them the ability to rebuild and do it the right way. But, Joshua Harris is the worst owner that we have in the city, but I don't trust him to get the job done. So where do we go from here? Are we heading into the NBA purgatory? And not like the NBA purgatory where we were just over the hump or just under the hump when it came to the playoffs. I'm talking about, although it could be more considered hell than purgatory, back the post-Barkley, pre-Iverson days is where I see us heading, which that's a scary time to be a Sixers fan. A little bit of an Eagles note today. I saw this stat, and I thought it was pretty cool for Jalen Hurts. And he became the first quarterback in NFL history to beat the team in the Super Bowl that he originally lost to. So the first one to actually get revenge on the quarterback that he lost to the first time. So I thought that was pretty cool. But they are gearing up. I guess the Combine is finishing up this week. Not a whole lot out of Eagles camp. So this is your daily reminder that we still are the Super Bowl champs. All right, the Phils. Jesus Luzardo looked pretty good yesterday. Our rotation could be pretty nasty. JT was interviewed about it. He's like, I feel like we have a 1 and 4 twos, which is a good thing to have when you have a lineup as inconsistent and as streaky as the Phillies. So really looking forward to to those guys making it through camp healthy, and hopefully, just maybe, the lineup can figure it out. But Racones with a RBI single yesterday. This dude's going to be a stud, I'm telling you. But the starting pitching, knock on wood, has looked good so far in camp. Jose Alvarado looked good. Ryan Kirkering looked pretty good. I can never say his name. But we'll see. And then, who knows? Sometimes, as Ruben Amaro Jr. used to say, you can never have too much pitching. All right. Be sure to check out my friends at the Clashing Conferences podcast. Great things going on at their Sports Fan Network. Go to clashingconferences.com for more details on what they have to offer, what's going on with them. So go check them out. And then go to Philly Goat. Why not? I mean, the Sixers are a dumpster fire, so go celebrate the Eagles. And I'm wearing my Champs hoodie today. I got my championship slides coming for the pool. It's almost time for the canvas loafer season. So go check out everything Philly Goat has to offer. Be sure to use the promo code Jim Montgomery to take 10% off of your order. That's phillygoat.com. Promo code Jim Montgomery to take 10% off of your order. All right, today we're going to do a little, it's going to be a little different vibe today. And today is going to be a Philadelphia Hoops Legend Day. And first, we're going to go back to 1986. And on this day in 1986, the Knicks retired Earl the Pearl Monroe's number 15 during a halftime ceremony. We all know, we talked about him last month, but Earl Monroe is a Philly native, Bartram graduate. Played for the Knicks from 1971 through 1980. While with the Knicks, made 3 All-Stars. He's also on the All-NBA 50th and 75th anniversary teams. He is in the Naismith Hall of Fame as well as the College Basketball Hall of Fame, Philadelphia Sports Hall of Fame, but is an NBA champion with the Knicks in 1973. During the course of his career, averaged about 16 points per game for the Knicks. And as we spoke about last month, he's known for just revolutionizing the way guys played the game. But on this day in 1986, the Knicks retired Earl the Pearl Monroe's number 15 up in the Madison Square Garden rafters. And then fast forward a few years to 2014, the Sixers retired Allen Iverson's number 3. He joined Moses Malone, Dolph Schayes, Dr. J, Mo Cheeks, Wilt Chamberlain, Hal Greer, Bobby Jones, Billy Cunningham, Charles Barkley, and Dave Zinkoff as having their number or their microphone retired at the Wells Fargo Center. We all know AI's story out of Georgetown, number 1 overall pick in 96. Spent 12 total years in Philly, averaged 27.6 points a game, 6 assists. He was an 8-time All-Star while playing with the Sixers. 2 times he won the NBA All-Star MVP. We all know about that magical 2000-2001 MVP run. 6-time All-NBA, either first or second team while with the Sixers. Rookie of the Year in 1997, scoring champion 4 times. Was on the All-75th NBA All-Anniversary team. But most importantly, just the heart and grit that he showed. And just, I don't think anybody gave as much to the game during the game, not practice, during the game than Allen Iverson did. But just the heart and being 6 foot on a good day and just driving the lane, getting his body beat up, going to the foul line. One of the all-time greats and one of the all-time fan favorites who I really don't think we appreciated as much as we should have while he was playing. But we all love AI. And on this day, 2014, the Sixers retired his number 3 up in the rafters. And then in 1986, the Knicks retired Earl the Pearl Monroe's number 15 up in the rafters at Madison Square Garden. Okay, for the month of March, to celebrate Women's History Month as well as celebrate March Madness as we're getting ready to gear up for conference tournaments and the NCAA tournament, we're going to spotlight Women's Big 5 Hall of Famers throughout the month of March. I'm going to just do a rotation through the team. Like I said, I just randomly picked some. But today we're going to start with the Temple Owls. And today we're going to spotlight Kelly Lane, who was a forward. Kelly transferred in from American as a junior in 1988. And she averaged 17.8 points per game, per game on that 88-89 Temple team that went 22-10 and made the NCAA tournament for the first time in school history. They made it to the second round, before getting knocked out by Holy Cross. She was first team all A10 that year. Had a better senior year with the Owls, but the team didn't do as well that second year. But she averaged 18.8 points per game in her 2 years at Temple, including 7 rebounds. She still has the highest career points per game average in Temple Temple basketball history, which is amazing considering there are some good players like Kamisha Harrison, Candace Dupree, but it's Kelly Lane who has the all-time career points per game average at Temple for the women. And then she was inducted into the Big Five Hall of Fame in 1996. So Kelly Lane, forward from Temple, is today's Women's Big Five Hall of Fame spotlight. She played for Temple, helped lead them to their first NCAA tournament, and still has the highest points per game average of anybody that ever played. And there's been some good ones at Temple for the Owls. On this day in 2014, Sixers retired AI's number 3, and in 1986, the Knicks retired Earl the Pearl Monroe's number 15. Just a day of Philly legends. We'll have more on the Sixers, the dumpster fire that is, the Flyers, as well as the Phillies as we move into tomorrow. But I just want to say thanks again for 30 months of 30 seasons. Seasons just sounds better. 30 seasons of this day in Philly sports history. But let me know, too, for the Sixers, where do we go from here? What are the next steps? And I almost forgot to recap yesterday's question of the day. I asked, is this a make-or-break season for Bryce? 60% of you said no. And a lot of the people agreed with Bill from Flowertown, who said, Bryce is fine. He's adding icing right now to his legacy. It's his boys that need to step up and have his back. I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. I disagree with that. I think he's right. Those guys let him down. Bryce showed up in the postseason last year. Nobody else did. So thank you, as always, for participating in the question today. But where do the Sixers go from here? Let me know that. Go have yourselves a Saturday. This has been This Day in Philly Sports History for March 1st, 2025. I'm Jim Montgomery, and until next time, I'll see you when I see you.